I still remember I was helping out my friend Brian Rakowski, who was the product manager at Gmail before it launched, right? And I still remember sitting in on the product meeting with Larry and Sergey, and the whole team comes up to Larry and Sergey and says, "We're going to change all of how people do email." And you remember back in the days there was Hotmail and Yahoo, and they would give you 25 megabytes, right? And so they had written on their deck that we were going to give everybody 200 megabytes. It's almost 10 times more than Yahoo or Hotmail was giving at that point, right? And this was like long ago when storage was really, really expensive, and hard drives, cost like, $1,000 a gigabyte or something crazy like that, right? And so Larry just walks up to the whiteboard, writes out 200 megabytes. He said, "This is what you guys want to give to people," right? And everybody in the room nods and says, that's amazing. Like, it's going to cost a lot of money. And it's going to be amazing, but we have these amazing algorithms to compress data and everything else. And he crosses it out and writes 2 gigabytes. And back then, 2 gigabytes was insane, right? Like, if you look at the cost of storage, it would have bankrupted the whole company. And everybody just in the room just gasps loud and says like, "Oh my God, 2 gigabytes. How the hell are we going to pull that off?" Right? And Larry's like, "I don't want you to coming back to me until you figured a way to do 2 gigabytes of storage on their email for everybody. That's massive order of magnitude difference." And he goes, "That's the product feature that people will go towards." And everybody just freaks out and says, "Oh, they're going to store the porn and their MP3s, and they're going to store the video files on Gmail." And Larry's just like, "You can solve that problem by just blocking the file types. Not letting people do that." And he says, like, the other non-obvious insight is that people are not going to fill up 2 gigabytes that quickly, right? It's going to be only like, 0.1% of the users that are going to fill it up and like use it as a storage system. And you can block that too. And he goes, by the time people fill 2 gigabytes, like this cost of storage with Moore's law will have dropped massively. And I'm sitting there going like, holy cow, we could actually pull this off, right? And, Brian and the team went back and like wrote down 2 gigabytes and figured a way to do this in such a way that, that was the offer. And remember, everybody freaked out, like, when they launched it, like invites only, they were selling on eBay for thousands of dollars to get access to Gmail. And it was one of those things where I just kind of looked at that and went like, boy, like this is an order of magnitude difference. And like watching that firsthand and live in that room of like, creating, what is today the most used email system in the world, and watching that sort of origin story sort of happen in that room when they decided between 2 gigabytes and 200 megabytes, I was sitting there going like, holy cow, what if founders could pull this off, right? And that informs my investing. I ask founders and I tell the story, what's your 2 gigabyte moment? Like, you're telling me something that's incremental, and I'm looking for the 2 gigabyte when everybody else has 25 megabyte moment.